Twitter.
All right, we are streaming now on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
All right,
Hello, YouTube.
All right, time to click. All right, ready to start the recording in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get right into it. Once again, I'm James, joined by my two co-hosts, Luke and Zach, and let's talk some.
Hi.
The NHL season has come and gone.
It has.
Very sad.
You won't see the wings of the Sens until at least September for preseason, or ever in case we move. Like rip my heart out.
Rip it out.
Yeah, wings are never moving.
Yeah, I noticed that. But yeah, I think we should talk about the season. Then we'll get right into playoffs. We're all excited for playoffs tomorrow. Like,
God bless.
So, how do you guys think the season went as a whole for the league?
I mean, I'd say everything was honestly pretty successful. I think there were maybe some marketable teams that didn't do as good as you would hope. I think it would have been a lot better for the Canadians to stay good with, how much they already dealt with last year and that they made it to the Cup finals. And Vegas missing is a big miss too. But the TNT and ESPN deals obviously kicked in. I think TNT was fantastic. ESPN maybe a little lackluster, but I mean, this was probably one of the higher scoring seasons that we've had, right? I mean, how many guys hit 50 goals?
There was like 52 30-goal scores this year.
I mean, that's I think the last time that happened, they said it was since like whenever Pavel Bure scored 60.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time. And on top of that, like it's unreal that Matthews scored 60. I don't care your opinion of the Leafs. It's insanity that he scored.
He started slow too. Like
he did. Yeah, he got injured and missed a few games. But Matthews is Matthew. Like,
yeah, I traded him in my fantasy league this little, and he immediately decided that he was a god. So
yeah. So was your plan to lose? Just
I got McDavid, James.
Oh, okay. So fuck me.
So part of it worked out.
I just had to trade away a decent player with him. I forget who, but that was annoying.
Wasn't Matthews. No, I mean, overall, I think it was good. I think there's, some teams you maybe didn't expect to be as good or good yet. Like I don't think anybody expected this run from the Panthers, all things considered. I think that's great for the Panthers organization. I think the Rangers kind of came up and added a little faster than maybe people expected. I think we probably mostly had them making playoffs, but they had an unreal season.
The Kings were a surprise too.
Yeah, the Kings were a very pleasant surprise.
I think some of us had them like wild card. We didn't expect them to get second or third in the Pacific. We didn't expect them to get there.
Yeah, and they play fun hockey too.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's mentioned it many times on this pod where they play hockey and they completely strategize against that certain team. They don't. And that's fun to watch when a team knows what their job is, knows what they're going to do. And we're going to get to the playoffs later, but that's having the ability to strategize for a team is super crucial in the playoffs. No,
I mean, it's actually like very impressive to watch like day in and day out. Like they know, like they have their game plan. And there's a lot of opinions on what makes a good team or what makes a good coach. And I think McLennan in LA should get a lot more credit than he does. I don't think on paper by any merit that the Kings are a playoff team. I think we could probably agree there, but they're a playoff team. And I don't think that's by sheer luck ever. I don't think teams just squeeze in, you know what I mean? And it's not like they hit
season.
Yeah, it's an 82 game season. It's not like they hit some like historic run and traded for Taylor Hall and snuck in, type thing. But they had a very good overall season, and they were one of the teams that you played them and you were pissed off. Like you were mad because they just out fucking play you every game.
And they bite
even
you.
if you won. It's just an annoying thing to play.
No, it's like you as a fan, like you're happy to be a fan because they just play very good hockey. But like every time Detroit played them, dude, I was upset. I was thoroughly upset after every game. I was like, man, like I just envy that, like it was like you couldn't watch Larkin be Larkin. You couldn't watch Seider, make all his moves. Like they had you. They fucking had you.
Yeah, the Kings know, like I said, McClellan knows how to strategize very well. And having seen them play live and being on this exact couch right here with the other occupant in this house, who's a Kings fan, and watch them. They're just they play you tough. They know how they expose your weaknesses, and they make you again. They get you rattled off your game, so you don't play to your style. You adapt to a style that the Kings want you to play, so that they can take advantage.
Yeah, you learn to kind of have like a certain appreciation for that game style.
Yeah, another surprise I found this year. I think Calgary was I did not expect Calgary to win the Pacific at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think before season, I know I had Calgary, I think wild card or just missing playoffs.
If we said that Calgary had this season, you would have expected Sean Monahan to have a career revitalization, and it wasn't even him.
Seriously, they had 200-point scorers, and neither were anywhere near Sean Monahan.
They had 3 40-goal scorers.
Yeah. So the fact that you have a team that you go, Sean Monahan is an important part of our core, right? We would have said that at the start of the season, that he's essential to their success this year, and whether they would be a good team or a bad team. And he does nothing, and they're still a very, very good hockey team. Like that's the most shocking part about it all, I think.
Yeah, like James said, like they had 3 40-goal scorers. Like amongst the 100-point seasons, and I've said it a few times now, Matthew Tkachuk has to have the most under-talked about 100-point season I've seen in my lifetime.
Yep.
Like almost every other guy gets parades thrown for them for getting 100 points. And Tkachuk hit it, and they were like, oh, it was near 100? Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Moving on.
And the strangest part about it is he plays hockey the way that those hockey men, those sports analysts would want him to play it too.
He's the ideal guy for that. Yeah.
So why wouldn't he get hyped up for it? He plays hockey the right way, and he puts up points. You would think that he would have a whole parade ran for him right now.
I've always been a very big style of the Tkachuks and how they play, and I think Matthew Tkachuk, like he plays exactly how you want. Like if you think hockey player, you just described to me hockey player. What do you think? Like you go to a generic fan. What do you think when you think hockey? You think hits, you think fights, you think spectacular goals, and he is all 3 and then some. And he's actually also an insane 2-way player on top of that. He could almost have his name in the Selkie in the future. Like he is an insane player, and to have 100 points and like James said, like Calgary, like I didn't expect them to be anywhere they got. Obviously Markstrom had an insane season as well, and Gaudreau, you can't miss him. Lindholm, whoever else. I mean, you didn't expect Calgary to finish the season with 50 wins no matter what.
Lindholm's a Selkie contender, man.
Yeah, Lindholm's. I think if there was no Igor Shesterkin, I think Markstrom takes the Vezina. Like right there. Yeah. It's not just there are so many like good goaltenders this year that could have like the 3 I can mention right now are Freddie Anderson, Igor Shesterkin, and Markstrom. And I can even put Saros in that conversation as well.
You remember the Markstrom slander from last year, James? I remember that. I have receipts. I don't forget that.
I have receipts.
I've always liked Markstrom, but yeah, I did talk some shit. I did. I'm move on. Surprising players this year. I'm gonna just go first for that one off the top of my head. Tage Thompson.
That's a very, very, very fair one.
Yeah, like he had like 37 goals. I think he had.
Yeah.
Like and considering last season, he was considered Buffalo's like lost cause. Like we traded Riley for this bum. Nobody. That's what they were saying. I'm not. And then there's this where like just boom, prove everybody wrong. And like
he's insane.
Yeah, like I think. And he's 6'7". He's kind of what I wanted Logan Brown to be, but Logan Brown never amounted to shit. But we'll get off of that.
Yeah. And then Jeff Skinner, career revitalization there too.
Yeah. Thompson made guys on his line better, and he really took a big step forward in development. And he's got a bright future in Buffalo. I'll just say that.
Yeah, Tuck too. That whole line was really nasty. I think Tuck is super underrated. I feel like he's one of probably the most underrated players in the league, and he's been in for a while.
Give him like a training camp for Buffalo. I think he could give a really good year next year.
Yeah.
Zach, I'll let you go.
With what?
Most surprising
players.
That's what we're okay. Yeah. It would probably be. Honestly, I just mentioned it, but Jeff Skinner.
Sure.
Everyone was saying $9 million for a guy who's getting no points. I mean, that's brutal, right? Yeah. You're looking at him. You're disappointed. They way overpaid him. Even now, even with him having a good year.
Yeah, it's still a bad contract, but at least he's not playing what he was in the first year.
It's salvageable. It's not one where you're like, man, I don't know how we get out of this. We have to buy him out and pay him like $4 million a year to not be on our roster. right? Which is awful for like the next 12 years. It would be, right? I don't know the length of the contract. I think 7 more years. It's something ridiculous like that. But now you're like, okay, Jeff Skinner, you're still an NHL player, right? It didn't look like he was last year, and
no, it didn't.
The change there is he was the most surprising player for the wrong reason last year, and this year is for the right reason. Where even without Eichel, people were saying he was Eichel made. He's still a really good player.
That's fair. I'm gonna go. I mean, not essentially like you guys, but I still think I will never not give this guy all the credit in the world. Is Roman Josi. 96 points as a defenseman in a single season, and he didn't even play 82 games. Is fucking insane. I mean, the last defenseman to get numbers like that was Phil Housley in 92-93. That's the last defenseman to have 96 or above is 20 years ago. Sorry, 30 years ago. My bad. That's lucrative. I don't think these numbers should be slept on. Obviously, we've known that Roman Josi is an insane defender. He's already won a Norris through his career. He has a very disgustingly good chance to win it again this year. But I think these numbers, I think they're about probably 30% of the reason that Nashville's in the playoffs right now. I don't. You obviously you take Roman Josi out of there, they have no chance. I don't think
he's the heart and soul of the team.
Yeah, no, I mean you can't give enough credit as well to UC Saros, but without Roman Josi, either way, nothing.
He's the offense and the defense for that team. I mean,
absolutely.
You can argue about Josi Saros might not be at the level he's at. Like he'll still be a good goalie, but he might not be like at the best in the conversation.
No, I mean Josi picks up slack on both ends. I mean it's not to make a gimmick about like he's an insane defender and he had an insane season.
Yeah. I just want to bring up another like an honorable mention for my surprise player. Who expected Josh Norris to get 35 this year?
Yeah, I
drafted him. I think
you did. He did. Zach got really lucky with that pick. I really wanted him. I forgot about him. Yeah, no, he's as far as 30 goal scorers, and this is what his second year in the NHL.
Yeah, and he played 56 games. So
yeah, I mean he's got a bright ass future. He's got 40 written all over him at least, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him get 50 if he could get some slightly better line mates. Not to knock the guys that he played with this year, but I think more skill, more talent. He's going to be he's a phenomenal.
The line mate led his team in points, and yeah, he played with Chuck Batherson. So yeah, not to knock the line, but
not disrespect to Batherson or Stützle or Kachuk or whoever he played with throughout the season, but like I just think he could, obviously the Sens will get better and get better players through his career.
Yeah, you give Norris, like you excel his line mates, he'll definitely, I can see him hitting 50 if he can get better line mates. Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets a winger this year, not named Juraj Slafkovsky, then he might
future Red Wing.
Draft's coming up. We'll have lots to talk about then.
Yeah, we are. Zach is resident scout for both football and hockey. I'm sure.
Zach is he's Mel Kiper and Bob McKenzie.
Just merged in, dude. We love his commentary on whenever we talk draft because James and I we can get through like the top
top 15, like top 10.
And then we're getting to a linebacker at 25, and Zach's like, I love this guy. He's got explosive get off of me, and Jim's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be the same.
He's the next Warren Sapp.
I would never say that about a player. No. I'm not risking my name on any player.
So those are surprises. Surprises for and then, we said surprising teams, surprising players. Let's go backwards and see the opposite. We'll start with disappointing teams this year. Yeah. I'm gonna go last on this one because
I'll go. I'll let Luke go first, actually, because I know what he's
doing. All right, cool. Thanks, because we all know who I'm going to say, and it's the Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
That was written in stone on my face for a while. I as acclaimed Vegas fan, which hurts at this point in time to still claim them, but I'm not going to bandwagon and say that I'm not a fan of them. I am a fan of them, by definition. It sucks, and it's hard to have that much talent and watch it, not prevail, right? Like it's insane to have, all the guys of Eichel, Stone, and Pacioretty on the same team, possibly playing on the same line. And you have Theodore and Pietrangelo on your back end, and you have one of the better up-and-coming goalies in Logan Thompson, and, Lehner's no slouch, and blah, blah, blah. I can keep naming players. But it's just an overall disappointing season, and there's a lot of suspects for them. I think DeBoer is terrible. I hope he's fired immediately. And nobody's gonna argue that you can't do anything if you're injured the whole year. And I mean the top line of Pacioretty, Eichel, and Stone, they combined for I think it was 108 games out of a possible 246. You're not gonna win games like that when you don't got your players. So from top to bottom, whether it was injuries, whether it was the culture of trying to trade a player when you didn't know his NTC, which is flabbergasting to me that you could manage that when the player has don't give me those looks. I top to bottom, it was a fail of a year for Vegas, and I don't think it's I think they get a lot of hate, and some of it's deserved because they've just been complete fuck ups for a while. I don't get the hate on Eichel personally. I don't think anybody ever thought he was a locker room cancer before he was traded, so it's pretty weird that all this hate comes just because he's traded because of a difference that if you were in Eichel situation, you would also be mad about. I don't know. It's disappointing from top to bottom, whether it's the players, whether it's the coach, whether it's the team, whether it's the management. And bad season.
No, I see Vegas picking playoffs next year though. Like give Eichel an actual
for sure
off season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it can easily bounce back, and they're they have like their goal differential was like plus 18, and I think they need a goaltender.
I like Logan Thompson a lot, and I like both the goalies, and Logan Thompson's going to grow into being an elite goaltender. I don't know if it's the goaltender. I think if you watch their game, and I think we talked about it the other day, is how they have no forecheck. If something's not developing off the rush, it's putty. There's nothing's happening for them.
It doesn't feel like anyone wants to play for Frank DeBoer. That's the truth.
Fred, whatever his fucking name is,
Peter DeBoer.
I don't care, man.
DeBoer, players didn't like him in New Jersey, players didn't like him in San Jose, and now
I was thinking about the soccer coach. That's why there's a Frank DeBoer in soccer.
That's funny. No, I mean it's top to bottom. It's bad, and my one complaint, I'm gonna keep saying this. I don't get the Eichel hate personally, and if you want to hate on him, but he just had neck surgery, the first surgery of a hockey player ever, and he still got 25 points in 34 games. It's not bad statistics at all for coming off neck surgery, man.
People didn't think he was going to come back this year because how late his surgery was.
Yeah.
He comes back, and he's a good player when he's back, with playing with bums because they traded away Tuck for him, and he doesn't have any of his first liners. Mark Stone's out forever.
Mark Stone's been out the whole year. Pacioretty's out every other game for 3 games, and they have Riley Smith goes on IR, Nicholas Waug's on IR. I mean, the management side was horrendous on how to fluctuate that cap, and obviously they were in a tough situation, but you did it to yourself, so figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. That's what you get for not understanding no trade clause.
Yeah.
Honestly,
the one thing I'll say, I've never seen a NHL community all band together to say, fuck the playoffs, fuck them, let's go. I've never, even for the Leafs, even the Leafs have not even hey, I've never seen that.
And Eichel lately hasn't been seen as a likable guy.
I
just recently.
I know.
I don't see it, but I don't know. He just hasn't been seen as a guy who's that likable recently.
No, I mean a lot of his people pointed out a lot of his mannerisms, I guess you would call it, on ice were pretty bizarre. There was a lot of times where he was kind of just soppy and down and out, and it's just happening to me type thing. And
I think that's just his face, though.
You mean how he played in Buffalo all those?
Yeah, I think that's his face. And there's one clip. What was it? It was not the last game, not the Dallas game, but I think the game prior when they lost in the shootout. There's a clip of him going up to Logan Thompson and patting him on the whatever and skating away, not giving him much thought. And everybody sees that and they're like, oh fuck him, he's not not being a good teammate and everything like that. And then 4 seconds later, there's a clip of him and Thompson completely alone talking, being whatever you say, but it's everybody's getting off the ice and it's Thompson and Eichel last, and they're talking, and it's nobody's gonna see that because everybody just at this point cares to paint him as a bad guy, and it's just bizarre to me.
Right. I think we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach.
I have two teams, but I'll take one, and I hope that I'm not stealing James.
All right.
I'm gonna take the Chicago Blackhawks here. We're good, James. Okay.
Yeah.
So, people expected them to be a lot better than they were this year, and I know they've been bad this whole year, so it probably doesn't feel like they're that disappointing.
Remember the offseason though, super team.
Well, that was the talk, right? They just traded for Marc-Andre Fleury. They got Seth Jones, who was way overrated by everyone, but he was still seen as a pretty decent defenseman by most people. Not a top 10 defenseman, but a good defenseman. They made all these moves in the offseason. They still had Kane, Taves coming back from injury, DeBrincat. They had Strome maybe getting better, you hope. They got all these players. They got rid of Duncan Keith, who was one of the worst defensemen in the league that last year, so it was almost seen as a plus. They were building a good team, it looked like, and you were going, okay, this team is going to be a playoff team. Most people thought that, and most people thought maybe first round, second round. And then they sucked the whole year. There was never a good moment.
No, there really wasn't.
Really bad start. They started 0-8-2 or 0-8-1. They had a really bad start.
And it just made no sense because you looked at that team on paper. Kane was still a point per game player this year. DeBrincat was still a very productive player this year. None of it made sense this year. I just don't understand how they got a bad record for one and why they got a bad record for two. Nothing made sense. And I'm happy for it because honestly, that Blackhawks organization deserves the worst record ever for 20 years straight. But it is still a disappointment considering the players they had.
Yeah.
No, you're definitely not wrong. I mean, trading for Seth Johnson, trading away arguably the best young player on your team and multiple first-round picks and other pieces for an overrated top four defenseman.
You're going all in.
Yeah, I mean, you're going all in at that point to trade away multiple first-round picks and young guys, and you trade for Marc-Andre Fleury. Don't get me wrong, they didn't give up shit for Fleury, but either way, acquiring guys like that and keeping a lot of other guys home and the season you had, that's definitely a shithole.
Yeah.
Good thing that pick's protected because if they win the lottery, they're not screwed.
Not completely
They're still screwed. Their future's still
they're
screwed.
still
They're
screwed.
still fucked.
So, and I don't mean to shit on Chicago because I feel like I do that.
I'm fine on Chicago.
But yeah, they want to keep their player, they want to keep Taves and Kane and DeBrincat. But we've said this multiple times. Those are the guys you should be. Now they brought in new management due to what happened. We're not gonna get into that though. And hope maybe we'll see a shift in direction of the organization. Maybe we'll see better, or maybe we see worse. We don't know. But
Right.
Yeah, Chicago definitely one of that's one of my disappointments as well. Chicago, but I thought Chicago was full of shit to start the year anyway. I think we all predicted Chicago not.
Yeah, we all kind of had them on our shit list for they're not doing anything. They think they're doing something, but they're not doing it.
I thought they would make first round. I thought they
Really?
would make the playoffs as a wild card.
Hmm.
That's still not that impressive though.
Yeah, no.
I have three teams I could say. Two of them are pretty obvious. One of them's oh wow. So I'm gonna say them. I'm gonna get into the one. I think just for our Canadian audience, Montreal, Stanley Cup champion, first team to ever finish 32nd in the league. Congratulations.
Yeah.
They weren't Stanley Cup champions.
The Stanley Cup finalists.
Stanley Cup finalists, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's it's
There's
not words.
We also they missed playoffs. I don't think we said they'd be the worst league team in the league though.
Yeah, I think I had them 5th or 6th in our rankings.
Yeah.
I think I had them 6th. And
we kept making fun of James for saying Ottawa would finish above Montreal.
yeah,
Everyone all offseason, I'm Ottawa's better than Montreal. Shut the fuck up, James. You're full of shit. You biased.
Detroit and Detroit, you kept constantly mentioned. And Detroit.
I did say that though. I did say that. Hey, it was close though.
It was close.
It was
Doesn't
close.
matter.
We could argue that one for a while, but I don't think we'll get into that today.
Yeah, that's a whole episode. Yeah, another one I would say is Philadelphia.
Yeah,
a lot of hype with them.
That was
the comeback tour. Carter Hart's coming back. Claude Giroux. We got Rasmus Ristolainen, which once again, he's just a name.
He's awesome. I don't get. He has to have the best PR in all of the NHL.
Dude.
He leaves Buffalo and Buffalo ends up being better. you gotta think that there has to be some correlation there.
And Philly paid
dude,
the man. Like Philly paid him too. Like, but yeah, Philly,
dude, what a
abysmal year, 4th worst record in the league. Like,
what a failed season, just top to bottom. I mean, you mentioned like kind of just like how their offseason shit went to shreds immediately. Like they traded Ristolainen and he's traded for Ristolainen and he's terrible. They traded for Ryan Ellis and he played a whopping 4 games.
Yeah,
4 games.
I think if Ellis is just, it's unlucky. You know,
Yeah,
no, it certainly is, but I mean, just like top to bottom, and
Windsor
fucking
legend Ryan Ellis, former Memorial Cup champion.
Yeah, Philly's got a rough future ahead of them. They have some contracts on that team that are not really movable, like JVR.
Yeah, JVR is a bad one. They obviously just inked Sean Couturier, and he was also out for most of the year. And you just traded away your captain Claude Giroux. So we'll see how your future looks, Philly.
But the one I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say Vancouver. I think in that division, there's no way you could have not you missed playoffs. They had a really bad start, and I think that a lot of players on that team had very disappointing seasons. I'm going to point out one, Elias Pettersson. I think he
improved down the stretch.
But like to start out, like I like saying Cole Caulfield had a good season when he only played like half the season for real.
Right.
Yeah. I think Vancouver disappointing season. I get there's a coaching change mid-season that helps, but I think with the talent on that team, there's no excuses.
It was tragic this last year for Vancouver. I'd go as far as to say that Elias Pettersson at the start of the season, he was borderline awful,
like abysmal. I would say
the amount of minutes that he was getting, and he was at like 0.2 points per game. I mean, you can't do that if you're seen as an elite player. As I said, he ended it down the stretch as a really good guy. Like he was clearly good, and that's why Vancouver were good, because the two are obviously connected, because Elias Pettersson, just like Roman Josi, is Vancouver.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't have a start like that from your elite player and expect to do anything in the season.
Where you know it went wrong is when you acquired Connor Garland, extended him, and then have him in trade rumors like the next
immediately.
Yeah.
That one's like one that really pisses me off, actually, because I was like, dude, if you're looking at guys to be the scapegoat there, I don't understand why it's Connor Garland. I can't compute that.
He was good on Arizona. I mean, come on, you can't use him as a scapegoat.
Connor Garland with term, though, I take that all day.
Dude, I would love Connor Garland on the Detroit Red Wings. Love it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna move on to disappointing players. Anyone want to go first? Because I got a few I can name.
I'd love you to name them because I'm trying to think.
I'm gonna say Alexis Lafreniere.
You can name them all if you want, James.
Yeah, you can.
Give me a second.
Alexis. Any young guy on the New York Rangers that's not named Adam Fox or Condre Miller.
Yeah.
I think Lafreniere and Kakko were like hyped up to take his next step. Lafreniere has looked just awful, and Kakko has looked just worse. And I think Lafreniere said he got his first power play goal in like March of this season.
I think they showed a statistic that we're like per 60, Lafreniere has the most even strength goals on that team. Play him. Like, I don't understand. What are you waiting on, man? Play the guy.
Yeah, that is a true stat. I don't get it why they don't put him on the power play. I feel like they hate him for no reason. That's what it really feels like.
I maybe he just doesn't fit into the scheme for Gallant, and I get that happens, but it's just very, very, very.
It's so strange.
Yeah, so and I think Kakko is just infinitely worse. 43 games played this year. He was scratched and injured. Yep. 7 goals, 11 assists for 18 points. As a second overall pick, how are you not? I don't get it.
No, me neither.
It doesn't make sense.
And Lafreniere,
I want to say he had a good season, and he kind of did, but he kind of
near
didn't.
the end, he kind of started to play a lot better. But
when he played, he was really good.
Oh, he murdered the Red Wings franchise in one night. Like,
well, that's how he plays
happened
against every team. Whenever I've watched Lafreniere, I've been beyond impressed. He's clearly a really good NHL player.
He's a really skilled player, and almost any other organization, he's sick.
79 games played, 19 goals, 12 assists, 31 points.
But you watch him play, and he's probably a 65-point player.
Yeah, and like here's the thing: if you face this, it's just like any like fourth liner, and you see that's not bad. But it's the fact that he's a former first overall pick.
Yeah,
and he's not getting that ice time. It's so annoying to me.
No,
I wish that the Rangers didn't draft him. I wish they didn't win the lottery.
Yeah, it would have worked out a lot better for his career if they hadn't won the lottery.
I do want to mention one more surprising player that I forgot to mention. I want to say just Jack Hughes real quick.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I got a disappointing player. I could have told you that this was going to be a disappointment before the season started. Is Dougie Hamilton to stay with the New Jersey Devils? He just, I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know if it's just the situation there in New Jersey, but he had basically his worst statistical year, and yeah, half of that has to be because, you didn't have Jack Hughes for a good chunk of the season, and he sure was in and out. And I mean, after those guys, like, who the fuck's left? Jesper Bratt, you don't disrespect him. He had an unbelievable season. But after that, I mean, it's incredibly lackluster for the Devils. Dougie Hamilton, multiple times when I watched him, I think the second to last, the Wings versus Devils game, I think it was just on Sunday or Monday. I was like, highlighting him, and he was fucking terrible. I was just like, dude, I don't know if he fell off a cliff or something, what happened, but I was like, he's just bad. He's just an egg.
He was injured a lot of most of the year, and he didn't play too well with New Jersey. Like, I think the first week he looked really good, but after that
he missed 20 games, so for sure that puts a strain on it. But like, I remember like one play, it was like the third period, right? New Jersey's got an empty net. They're already down like 4-2 because we've already scored one empty net. And they go to give the puck to Dougie, and he's pissed, trying to skate it up ice, right? And Adam Ernie, of all fucking people, just stops dead still, just pokes the puck away from him. And Hamilton has nothing. He's not ready for it. He's not looking for it. He's not like, no head up, no hesitation, like just pucks away, Rasmussen grabs it, empty net goal. It was like the matter of 2 seconds. I was like, it was that easy? Like, really? Are we sure?
Yeah, it's really bizarre with him too, because I feel like he was viewed as one of the better defensemen in the league. And when you watched him on Carolina, there was this confidence, this moxie that he had, right? Where it was, I'm going to have the puck and I'm going to go past you. And that's what it was. And he still kind of has that confidence, but the execution is just off. Something just, whether it's a small click or something's just off with him in New Jersey. And I can't put my finger on it.
No, I mean, you had him as, a lot of people had him as a top 10 defender in the offseason. And you weren't wrong to say that. He was a fantastic player for everybody. And
consistent Norris contender. I mean,
no, seriously, he was fantastic. All NCAA say he just dropped off. He just gone.
Yeah, mine would probably be and I forget who mentioned this earlier in the pod, but Carter Hart.
Yeah, that's fair. James mentioned him.
Fair. Yeah.
He was viewed as he's gonna have a rebound season. He's too talented to not have a rebound season, right? I have the fondest memories of as a Canadian, and I'm sure James does too. World Juniors, watching Carter Hart tear it up in the World Juniors. Yeah, that breath he would do before every game, before stepping out on the ice, it would bring chills down your spine.
I remember watching him and like, oh, this kid's gonna be insane.
And it's just that I think that's where the disappointment lies, is that I watched him in the World Juniors. I watched him as he grew. I watched him, and I was going, this guy's going to be a stud in the NHL. Consistent Vezina contender, all of that. And he just has not been that.
His first season in the NHL, he was pretty good.
He was good. And then I really, there's another guy who I just don't get what happened, because I thought he had the talent. And now it looks like he's just below meh goalie.
Do you put it on the organization or do you put it on Carter Hart?
I don't know who to put it on.
A little bit of both. I think, no matter what, as a goaltender, as you grow, you have to get better and you have to have improved numbers, no matter what way you look at it, a left, down, up, right, center. If it's your team, if it's this, that, and the other thing, good goaltenders, they'll still have good stats. It happens, right? And they'll still be buffed, but I mean, last year he had an 877 this year he had a 905. Like if you're a good goalie, you need at least a 910, in my opinion. What does Shesterkin have, a 932? That's a good ass goaltender right there.
You can't compare anyone to Shesterkin's year this year.
No, but I mean, like, there's a lot of goalies that have gotten 930s and above, right? I mean, Shesterkin had 935. All right, so that's a little uncomparable. But I mean, I'd bet if you went here, let me find it. Goalie save percents.
Go with like the 15th guy.
I would, yeah. I mean, like a 915, I'd say is like, or a 910 is where I would say like a cutoff is for like a starter. Like that's where you need to be, right?
Yeah.
And the top 20 is all 912 and above. And I don't know how to tab over on a page here. I'll be completely honest with you. So I don't know how far I'm going to get because this is a jank ass site.
We get the point.
Point being, yeah.
Some more guys. I'm just gonna mention some guys off the top of my head that I thought of real quick. Dominic Kubalik. I think he had a really bad year, considering 2 years ago he was like the man.
I forgot he even existed. I won't lie to you. Which shows how bad his year.
Grubauer. I think Grubauer had a bad for the
That's
season.
definitely true.
Year. But let's get in the mood of the team. But we thought Grubauer going to the Seattle. I think we all said doesn't seem like a good move.
That was a mistake by him.
I've always been a very adamant person on I don't like big free agency signings. I don't think they work out. I think the only few in recent memory that I remember is Panarin, and just now is Bobrovsky working out and Markstrom. Yeah, exactly. Those three are the only in recent memory that you look at as big signings. And Duchesne worked out this year as well.
Duchesne, you could say Toffoli for Montreal last year.
Last year, but they already traded him.
I don't even know if you count Bobrovsky as working out though, because
I mean he has a lot of wins this year, but wins isn't exactly a goaltender stat, and I'm not seeing him in top 20 for save percent.
Spencer Knight is a better goalie than him, but his big contract is forcing him to play.
JVR, Kyle Palmieri.
Yeah.
Palmieri's an interesting one.
And I'm gonna say a hot take right here. Jakub Chikrin.
Yeah, I
think that's fair.
I think he had only had like 20 points for like an offensive defenseman.
Well, he's another guy whose start was so awful, right? Yeah. Like I think he had like 5 points in the first 30 games, like that.
And the Coyotes wanted like 3 first-round picks for this guy.
Yeah,
they're not getting.
I didn't buy that shit.
I think we're gonna move on. I think we're gonna ask Luke and Zach about the Red Wings and how the season went as a whole. Go over it. Talk about. I know you guys want to talk about. The good news, but we'll.
The Lord has brought us just the best news on this Giving Sunday.
And it is Richard Gronberg season officially.
Richard Gronberg, baby. Yes, as you have not maybe seen the news, which I would imagine you have, is that the Red Wings have officially let go of head coach Jeff Blashill. We are free. Oh God, the just the love in that group chat when that news was sent, man. Everybody was so stoked. I feel bad part of it because you don't want to see a guy lose a job another day. He's you can always have the argument that he's won at every level, but fuck, man, you give a Stanley Cup winning coach a Stanley Cup winning team, or sorry, you give a let me reword that. You get a mediocre coach, like a championship team, and they'll win championships. Like that's how it goes. He's not a good coach in my opinion. He's never proved anything. Like the year that. Yeah, I mean, the year that the Griffins won the Calder Cup, Anthony Mantha was just about an extra. And we know that Anthony Mantha is a guy that could score 30 plus in the NHL. So I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think any of the shit that he's won at certain levels is because of him. I don't think he's implemented anything in his seasons that make a difference to a team or a player. I don't think he's good at growing players. I don't think he's ever been good at growing players. There's been rumors put out through the season that, there's noticeable backlash between Blashill and other young players on the team, and I don't think that's a sheer coincidence.
Zadina. Sorry.
Zadina. Hronik. I don't think that stuff's be a coincidence to me. Overall, as far as the season goes, I think it was a successful season. I don't think we expected the Red Wings to get many more wins. They had 32 wins or 31 wins. I think it was 31, if I'm not mistaken. 32. I think that's kind of exactly what we were expecting them to be, is 30 wins. I think we were expecting, probably just around, I think we might have expected to be just a tiny bit higher in the standings, maybe, a few more wins, which isn't anything crazy type thing. I think we expected to maybe be, above Buffalo and what's their name?
Columbus.
The Jackets. Yeah, exactly. I think you maybe expected to be above them, but that's fine that you're not. I give credit to both those teams for being better. But I mean, as far as development went, you had 2 30-goal scorers. Larkin had a great year. Mo Seider 50 points. Raymond almost had 60. Ned, for the games that he wanted to be good, he was great. If the defense didn't want to show up and Ned was trying, Ned was fucked. I think overall it's kind of what we expected, and I think the growth is still coming.
Well, let me start with this. At the start of the year, I said, I don't think we're going to be that good of a team, but I think it's going to be a fun year. And I think it was a fun year.
Yeah, you did say that.
We got to watch our young players play really well. You got to watch Mo Seider just be a dominant two-way defenseman, and exactly what this team in the city of Detroit was missing was having a defenseman who you were happy with. We haven't had that since Kronwall and
Lidstrom.
Yeah, Kronwall when he was 3 years younger than before he retired. I mean, it was so long, and that sucked until Seider came. You got to watch Raymond, who was on a crazy start at the start of the year. That was so much fun. You got to watch all of these players it was just a fun year. Obviously, we see Blashill leave. That's great news. Blashill never had a plan. He never had a style of play. It really looked like I don't know what they were doing at practice.
He was just there.
Yeah, he was
I
just
have no
around.
idea. I have no idea what they were practicing because I never saw any breakout strategies. I never saw any creative ways to get into the zone. I never watched any creative power play strategies. Nothing. There was nothing creative about it. James, you watched us deep into the season, so we had a lot of practices by then against.
I watched a few Wings games early on, and I did go see one live.
There was no change.
There was no change. Yeah.
No, I mean that's my main thing of why I preyed on McClellan in LA is every game it was different. It wasn't like they had played the same style and they just outplayed you on that. It's they game planned for players, they game planned for teams, they game planned for entrances, for zone entries, for exits. They game planned for everything, and they knew what you were gonna do. And with how everything is in today's NHL, that's not that fucking hard and much to ask for.
I don't even care about that stuff. I just wanted to see one thing that was creative that you go, they worked on that in practice.
I wanted to notice one thing and be like, oh, cool, nice, good improvement.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. That's cool. Good job, Blashill. And I didn't see that through his entire tenure. And he was the second longest tenured coach in the league. I mean, that says a lot about the coach.
It does.
Yep. As Luke said, you give a championship caliber team to a championship caliber to a mediocre coach. He was a mediocre AHL coach. He was given a championship caliber coach team in his first year as a coach for when he had Datsuk for the Red Wings, and we went on the first round to Tampa, and it was a good Tampa team. And it was a good Tampa team, but that was his best season, and even that was a disappointment because we had a way better team than that.
I keep forgetting how long he was coaching there.
Our defensive core was pretty good. Our Mrazek was playing out of his mind. Jimmy Howard was playing out of his mind. We had a ton of good players, and it meant nothing. We have a young Tatar, a young Nyquist. I mean, that was a fun team was elite. Well. Yeah, that was a fun team, and it also meant nothing. His most successful season was that, which he led us to one of the worst teams in the salary cap era, and I'm so glad that he's gone.
Yeah, can't praise that enough. James,
okay, so if you asked me this in November, James was down bad, blasting Juice WRLD with the door closed, it was bad. But I think we got better after we had that abysmal stretch throughout the rest of the year. individually, our players grew. Like, they got a lot better. Norris got better. Kachuk got better. Stu got better after a really bad start. Bafferson looked amazing. Chabot took that next step to be like a top 15 defenseman. Murray didn't get better, but Forsberg emerged, so they kind of cancel each other out. I still question DJ Smith because some nights I'm like, hey, you know what? Like the stuff he does, you see that, like you guys said, Bachelor, you say there's no change. With DJ Smith, there is change, but it's questionable change. Like for some nights, you'll have like, let's put Adam Gaudette on the first line. Why?
Well, you guys have done the same power play break-in every single time that I've watched you guys.
But
every single time.
Norris from his office.
You know the exact one, right? Where it's the defenseman that skates in, he passes it back, and then that player skates up. It's the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, but I've not the end of the year.
The
end of the year, they're trying new power play combinations and new power play strategies. It's the end of the year, to be fair. And they're having like, they're finally having like Brady shoot, which from like spots, not just like going up, having him shoot from certain areas, which I think, and it's worked out. The decor is still a very large concern. I don't like Chabot playing 35 minutes a night. I think it wears you down. And we just need better defenders. And I think for the season, I remember I was cursing Zaitsev, Josh Brown, Victor Mete. All those guys can just go kick rocks. Like, I don't want them back. One's gone. I got my wish, but I still have Zaitsev, so I'm still in pain. I think Pierre Dorian needs to make the best of what he's got and, go out and get guys, because Kachuk and Chabot have gone to Dorian and said, you know what, we want to see this team take the next step. And they're going, when you have players going to management about, fix it. Like, I think it's time.
You could do.
It's probably time to fix it if players are saying to fix it.
I do want to say I think this upcoming year will be very important for the Senators. I think if we, aren't like contending for a wild card spot, or like we're a playoff team, cool, everyone can stay. If we're contending for a wild card spot, cool, that's good for development. If we're like near the bottom of the Atlantic, I think there's got to be a change. And with new ownership coming in, that's very likely. But yeah, Kachuk got 67 points on the year. And God, I remember people said Kachuk will never reach 50 points. What happened? He almost got 70.
Kachuk definitely had a good year. I definitely gave him a lot of shit in the offseason for his contract antics, and I don't regret any of that per se.
No, that was fun.
That was fun. It was definitely fun to fuck with James because, man, was he pissed. No, I mean, he had a great year. A lot of the Suns' young guys, especially like kind of, the same thing as what Zach and I talk about, what our group chat talks about is, like the right guys had good years. The guys that you want to have good years and see improvement from and have, breakout seasons and, improve for the future. They did that. That was accomplished through the year for the most part. So there's not much complaint for either our teams other than, we want to see more. We want to see the trend continue. We don't want to fall into any holes because both of our teams are kind of going to be possibly subject to that. We have a head coach vacancy, and I think this head coach will decide a lot for what the Red Wings' future looks like. And the Senators need to make some major spending changes.
It's going to be bright because we're going to get Ricard Gronberg. Future.
We get Gronberg, dude. I'm going to be so stoked. I swear.
The greatest Red Wings coach of all time.
And I know Dorian had a press conference today. I've heard some of the highlights from it, but I want to actually go watch it when we're done this. Basically, he said, we're not gonna spend to the cap, but we're gonna spend more money.
Yeah,
because listen, it's better than nothing. I'll say that it's better than we're gonna stay cheap because I if you're spending money, if the team is spending more money, I'm fine with that.
More money, less problems.
Yeah, no, that's not always true. Always true. Jeff Skinner, first year. No, I think Ottawa's got to go acquire a top six forward via trade or via free agency, or even get a defense. I just don't see us getting a top 4D in free agency. First of all, because I don't like any of them in this year's pool.
No,
And
this defensive market's not good at
yeah,
all.
so I think it's gonna be via trade, and I don't know. I know there was tires kicked on Fiel, but I'm sorry, Kevin Fiel's price has skyrocketed.
Yeah, dude. If you the first time you said about Kevin Fiala, I was like, it's possible. Yeah, you could probably make a pretty low key trade, and then he has had like above. He's been like 1.5 point per game to end out the season. It's been obscene for him.
Now I think gonna say, yeah, I want a first round pick. I want Foreman and I want Sanderson to go kick rocks.
Honestly, he's probably worth that. Like he's worth a lot.
Yeah, if he could keep that, certainly. But it's also a worry with him there.
Yeah, I just think we'll see what happens, obviously, but I think we're gonna get into playoffs now. It's been
a while.
Talk about season for about an hour. I'm sorry if you expected playoffs by now. I'll put a thing before the episode when we started. All right, so I think we should go over. Want to go over our brackets first? Want to go over every series first? Because I think we should go over.
I reckon we should do first rounds because we could probably revisit and do second rounds and plus when it gets later in the playoffs, and then we could just review early cup winners.
Okay.
So, let's start off with let's go to the East. Let's start with Boston, Carolina.
Carolina.
You know, I look at a lot of these, especially in the East, and I'm like, fuck. These are just really good teams, and how do you pick them? Like this is one of the first rounds that I'm really excited for because I'm pretty sure these two have met in the conference finals before.
These two have met the past
few years now.
That's 2 out of 3 years, yeah.
You know, like this is a heating up rivalry. These are two fantastic teams, and I think, you know, whoever wins this series could probably go pretty far in the playoffs. You know,
both teams could win the cup, honestly.
Logically speaking, both teams have incredibly good chances. I mean, whoever makes it out of this. I mean, these are two fantastic teams that have fantastic seasons, both insane goaltending, great defense, great forwards. I personally have Carolina, but I think I could go either way.
I just want to mention that Freddie Anderson is questionable. He's not starting game 1 for sure. Game 2 is maybe. I think he will get starting game 3 because it's the playoffs, and if you're hurt, you better have a broken leg. Like that's
it's the playoffs.
Yeah. I think this is going to be one of the more exciting series in the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll go to 7.
Yeah, both teams just they go hard, and they have a disdain for each other as well. They don't like each other. I personally have Carolina in 7 because I just think the goal to Freddie Anderson back and the firepower they have will be too much for Boston. And this is Allmark's first playoffs, and first year goaltending usually you get that those nerves, but we'll see what happens. But I definitely Carolina's defense is defense.
You put me in a spot here, James.
All right.
If I go Carolina, the whole board goes Carolina, which means Boston automatically wins. But if I go for Boston, then I go against what I think will actually happen, and then I'll be wrong. So
we like that panel, like the Leblockcast pick is blank. The Leblockcast.
I'm gonna go Carolina against my better against what I probably should do, and I'll curse Carolina.
Yeah, no, I do want to say I'm picking Carolina in 7, but the Boston could definitely win this.
I think Carolina have the goalie advantage if Freddie Anderson is back game 2. I think defense, they obviously have the advantage. Forward core is worse, naturally. Any forward core that has that first line is always going to be better than pretty much any other forward core in the league. But I think Carolina has enough depth and enough advantages in different spots to where I think they'd be comfortable to win in 7 or 6.
Next series. So the Leblockcast pick is Carolina in 7. Now we go to let's go to Tampa Bay, Toronto.
I'm sure this will be a fun and civilized conversation.
We all love Toronto.
Toronto, what's gonna happen?
We're all Leafs fans.
Toronto, what's gonna happen when you lose on home ice this year and have home advantage? I'm just asking. I know many Leafs fans, and even they say we're fucked. I don't see Toronto getting past Tampa. I don't see it.
Tampa have too much experience. Too
much experience. I think the goaltending matchup is Vasilevsky versus
Tampa. God knows who.
Campbell. If you get like first half of the season Campbell, it's going to be a great series. If you get like second half Campbell,
see ya.
Yeah. Well, Vazzy hasn't even been that good this season comparably to the way he's played, but playoff as
but when playoffs he can turn it on. And
in an elimination game, it's over. I mean, you're not scoring on
an X factor, and I hate to say this because he just won the Rocket, but Matthews is the X factor. If him and Marta can show up, then
even if they do, I don't think it matters. I think Tampa are the team that they've won back-to-back cups. And I mean, if there's anyone that messes up this Leafs, because I thought the Leafs would maybe get past the first round this year if they played literally anyone else other than Tampa.
Boston, I say they get past. If they played Florida, it's a maybe, but not against Tampa.
I just can't see it, and it sucks. I do feel bad for
I do. At this point I feel bad for them, but Tampa's again for the second season in a row, they've kind of taken it slow in the regular season. They don't really give a shit because they didn't know the regular season is not the finish line.
Man.
Yeah.
He's on a tear.
And I don't think Toronto can stop Tampa. I don't, how many seasons have we had if only we had, this going for us, if only it was, 1-16 and we didn't have to play Boston every year. Like, you got to play Boston, but you're still fucked.
And I keep almost replaying this stupid playoff ad that I get from the NHL where Steven Stamkos goes, "It's the playoffs. Anything can happen." And he says that with a little smug smile, like they're not beating us.
Toronto fans are gonna hate that. They're gonna hate when that. I don't feel bad for Leaf fans because Leaf fans are assholes. Not all. But then not all. But
hey, my dad's a Leaf fan.
Hey, I said not all.
Yes. He's an asshole.
My prediction. I have Tampa in 6.
I got Tampa in 5.
I got Tampa in 5.
Leblockcast pick is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And we got to start having a 2-for-1 event. 2-to-1 eventually.
I think eventually we'll get there. Let's go to Pittsburgh, New York.
This might be the one.
Yeah.
Listen, if Jari was playing, this could go 7.
Jari's
out.
Jari's out?
You said Pittsburgh, New York, didn't you?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, New York. Jari's out.
Oh, Jari. I was thinking Saros for some reason. I don't know where I got that from. No. I don't know where.
Is Jari out?
He's still out. Just Smith is getting in the start.
Huh.
No, Smith is not a bad goaltender. He is a really good backup.
No, but he hasn't been Tristan Jari this year.
Exactly. But can you outlast Shesterkin?
He's missing the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah. I don't think. I think this will go 7 though. I do. New York's been on a tear. New York they fixed their bottom 6 problem. They really added the deadline, and I enjoy watching them. I think they're a really fun team to watch.
Yeah.
And
right.
I know. And here's the thing. My head says New York, but my emotions say Pittsburgh. Don't know why my emotions say Pittsburgh, but they are.
Because Pittsburgh wins in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's just what they do. Not recently, but historically.
It should be a really fun series. When these two meet, though, it's usually always a short series, historically.
Mm-hmm.
So
give me Rangers in 5.
This one's tough for me because, I sit here and I'm like, I really like the Rangers this year. Like, I really, 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 really like the Rangers this year. I can't say enough good things on them, but like, I'm not going to sit here and count out Sid the Kid, man. I can't sit here and do that. He's an animal.
Yo, Sid in the playoffs.
Animal
player all times. Playoffs.
Wasn't there one year where he played like 11 games and had like 25 points?
He's an absolute animal.
Capitals Cup winning season, I think.
I never want to count out Sid, but
no, dude, you can't. I personally have the Penguins in 7 just because I'm not going to count out Sid for a first round exit.
I think goaltending will play the role here, and I'm going to go Rangers in 7.
Well, there's your guys' split. You're welcome.
So the non-consensus pick is New York.
Yeah, 17-18, Zach, 21 points in 12 games.
That's what I
Sid
thought. That
is insane.
And
so ridiculous.
Last season, in the series in the East, Panthers, Washington.
Man, I can't tell you guys how excited I am to watch the Panthers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not going to reveal who I have to win the cup, but I would love to see them win the cup, man. I would love that.
You know how many Ottawa fans want Florida to win the cup? Because Drew's gonna come home. I do. Florida. Listen, you know the story. President's Trophy winners for the first time franchise history.
First time.
Yep. Going in not very hot because you just lost 10-3 to Montreal.
Got fucking waxed.
But starters were resting, so I think going in very hot. Before Montreal lost, and
I wouldn't even count that as a game. I would think they had an 81 game season.
I don't think Washington. I love Ovi. Don't get me wrong. I love Ovi. I think the Caps. I just think the Caps don't have enough to compete with Florida.
Yeah, no.
I mean, a big X factor for Florida in the playoffs will be Ekblad and how fast he can get up to speed. Mm-hmm. Right? He'll play game one, but obviously he won't be at 100% where he's playing at an Ekblad level. It will probably take a few games for him to get, okay, this is Aaron Ekblad, right? This is a top 10, top 15 defenseman in the league. Norris Challenger, one of the better defensemen in the league. And then once you get that, then you're pretty happy with the Florida team, and you're going, hey, maybe Luke's dream of them winning the cup is a reality.
I'd love it, man. I don't normally root for Atlantic Division teams, but I would love it.
I have Florida winning though, probably in 6.
I have Florida. I have Florida in 5. The consensus is Florida in 5. All right, to the west
with consensus, man.
No, it's the Leblockcast pick. Let's start off with. Let's start off with the best series in the West. Minnesota, St. Louis.
Thank you.
That's a nice series.
That's an insane series coming, man.
Husso's a dog, man.
Husso, dude, I think St. Louis is getting overlooked in the series. I think, they caught fire at just the right time. I think they've been absolutely insane. The season series between them is 3-0 for St. Louis. Or it might even be 4-0. I can't remember correctly, but
yeah. But
St. Louis owned them.
I'll say this: season series doesn't mean shit.
No, it doesn't, because the playoffs are a completely different beast. But I definitely think people are overlooking St. Louis, and I love the Wild this year. I truly do. But I think like Zach just said, Husso is a fucking dog, and man, is that fucking Robert Thomas, Buchnevich, and Tarasenko line hitting on a different fucking level right now. They are. One of the best lines in hockey, if not the best. They've been obscene.
The Wild, though, have 2 hot goalies right now. Talbot's been on a tear.
And if he slows down in the playoffs, then who are you going to put in? Oh, Fleury. Oh God, what are we going to do, right? Like, no matter who's in net, they're going to be happy.
I think both these teams could easily get to the conference finals.
Yeah.
From being teams that I've said that we multiple times, and I bet all of our lives that we've called Minnesota the most irrelevant team in the NHL. From being that to being the series, that I'm like, I really want to watch this. It's a pretty crazy switch up.
Yeah, Minnesota used to be the team who you go, yeah, they might win for a first round.
Yeah, no,
they might make it.
Minnesota's weird because they're in a good market, but they had never had any success outside of. They went to the conference finals in 2003.
Well, for so long, it was just kind of like, they're a playoff team.
They're a playoff team, but they're
mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just breathed mediocrity, that team. They never had their superstar, and Kirill Kaprizov. Fuck, is he good?
He's so good.
I remember when Kaprizov was coming over, we all said 4 years ago, we're like, Kaprizov's not going to save your franchise. Well, I think he did that.
He saved the franchise and then some, brother. Yeah. Holy fuck, is he crazy?
This series is going to be insane. I will definitely be watching every game. I'm excited for this series. This is going to be the best.
A huge smile on my face too.
My pick, it's so difficult because I can pick either one. I'm going Minnesota in 7.
I have St. Louis in 7.
tiebreaker.
I'm gonna let Zach go first for all these now. He's like, I gotta make the fucking decision. Fuck.
I'm gonna go with. I guess St. Louis in 7. There's no conviction there, man. There's no conviction. There's no conviction.
There's no. I'll be honest in this. There's no wrong answer. Well, there is.
No, dude. This is just gonna be a dogfight. Truly.
I honestly have no idea. I feel like I watch a good amount
the
of.
The majority of the cast says St. Louis in 7.
I feel like I know these teams enough, but I have no clue.
No, dude, this is just. I'm just like James said. Like I'm gonna try to watch every single one of these games. I'm stoked for the series.
Now to a series that may not go that long. Colorado, Nashville.
You know, I feel so bad for fucking Nashville, man. How does that? It's so tough that Saros gets hurt now. You know what I mean? Like, I had so much love for them this season with how many guys have come back and had just disgusting years. And that just sucks. That just sucks so much to see Saros go out at the most inopportune time.
I think they got if they were playing like Calgary, I think that'd be a more compelling series. But Saros going out at the worst time, like Luke said.
Colorado's they're just
Colorado. Like I don't.
They're so good, man. They're so good. They're so good.
Yeah. They're disgusting, and Nashville's getting some bad luck right when you don't want bad luck. And I feel bad for Nashville because I'm like, I want them. Yeah. I want them to be good so bad, and I want them to do something because if there's another organization that you pray that they could make it somewhere and win something and finally make some ground room for their organization. But I don't think it's going to happen against this very good team with no goaltender.
No.
Yeah. Colorado is Colorado. We know what's up.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna see this right now. I think Colorado sweeps.
Yeah, I've got them in 4. If Saros was still playing, I'd probably say 6, but I do have Colorado winning.
I would give Nashville a game if Saros was playing.
You know what they call 5 games? A gentleman's sweep. I hate that term so much, and I'm so mad at myself that I'm using it. So the consensus pick is Avs.
Yeah.
Let's do Calgary, Dallas.
This is where I wish Vegas made the playoffs for the sheer reason that I don't want to watch the Dallas Stars in the playoffs.
All right.
I don't give a fuck about the Dallas Stars being in the playoffs, and that's not because I have a vendetta against Jamie Benn, which I certainly do. However, they're just, don't get me wrong, Jason Robertson, Rupe Haynes, Pavelski, Miro Heiskanen, and Jake Oster, TV Ronza, all fantastic, but I don't care. I don't care, man. I feel bad for Dallas. Like I'm sure that's just slanderous at this point, and I don't know that I should word it as I don't care. I just don't think they're going to have any headway. I don't think they can beat Calgary. I think Calgary's a horse.
I think Dallas will get a few games. I don't think they'll win the series though.
No.
Unless injuries happen, or I think Calgary's just a better team. Calgary's in a better position, and Calgary is Calgary, and they've been the best team, second best team in the West all year. I can't pick Dallas.
No, me neither.
And I love Dallas' line. That line of Pavelski, Rupe Hintz, and Jason Robertson is underrated and fantastic.
I will say, if that line does produce one line, I know it's one line can carry series. Yes, it can. Look at the 07 Cup run. And come back.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, one line can carry you, and I don't think it's out of the question to say that line could be the kind of line that does it, but I don't think they do it this time.
I don't think that line is about even to Kachuk's line. Right?
Yeah.
They're both disgusting, and then Calgary have the depth. They got Toffoli, who's been unbelievable since going on Calgary. They've got
they got a better decor. They got better depth. They've got the better goalie. They've got the better coaching.
They've got the better coach too. Sutter's a Cup winner. He's been in the playoffs multiple times.
Yep.
He has the experience. Calgary, I will say, Calgary as a group is not an experienced playoff team.
Yeah, that's true. and Dallas just made the cup a few years back, so they do have that for their resume. But I don't see it happening.
Honestly, I have Calgary in 6.
As do I.
I have Calgary in 5.
Fair enough.
You had to be different.
I had to.
All right, now let's go to the final series. This one I think will be not watchable, but we have Edmonton, LA.
Any game that you're watching McDavid is watchable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. I'm really actually excited to see playoff McDavid again. I really hope for his sake that they can do something and that they can have a playoff run here.
They'll try.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they necessarily will. I think their D-core is going to get absolutely shredded later in the playoffs if they make it there.
D-core?
Exactly. Point being, my pick here is Edmonton, and I think they'll be fine against LA enough because I think those two players, Draisaitl and McDavid, can carry you far enough. But you make it to Calgary, dude.
That's gonna be fun though. Battle of Alberta.
Battle of Alberta will be full swing.
Yo, second round series that I'm definitely watching. If that happens,
yeah, dude. You want to talk about the first round series here? Could you imagine some of the second round? We could have Battle of Florida and Battle of Alberta in second round.
I just think it's too good to be true. I don't think we'll get both.
Dude, if we are that blessed, I will promise you I will take work off for these games.
I'll be honest right now. I wouldn't doubt Jonathan Quick in the playoffs.
I think Mike Smith also has that experience, and he's been on it.
Yeah,
but I think Jonathan Quick has 2 cups, and Mike Smith doesn't.
Yeah,
and I think Jonathan Quick can turn on in the playoffs. I think LA's D-core is better, even without doubt. I think LA's D-core is so much better, and LA can just they play like you said, they expose weaknesses. I think they'll do that, and I'm picking LA.
Wow. The issue is though, you can't stop McDavid or Draisaitl.
Neil Pionk did it last year.
Yeah, but you just can't. And the reason Neil Pionk did it last year is because they didn't call anything on Winnipeg. Like the amount of penalties that were blasphemously uncalled was so dumb, and everyone called it out. And I don't think they'll let that repeat. I don't think the NHL will let that repeat because then they'll get another scandal, and I don't think they want another scandal like that. They'll probably try and keep playoff
refs.
Yeah, I know. But first round playoff refs are usually a bit more lenient.
A player to watch in this series for LA, I would say, will be Mikey Anderson, the defenseman. I think look for him to be that shit disturber and that defensive guy. I have LA in 6 games.
I had Edmonton in 6.
I also have Edmonton in 6.
All right, we have Edmonton is the consensus now, guys. That's our breakdown for each series. Why don't we tell everyone our final 4?
My final 4. Zach's got to do some movement here to figure out what his final 4 would be.
No, I have it.
My final 4 is Tampa, Colorado, Calgary, and Carolina.
My final 4 is Florida, the New York Rangers, Calgary, and Minnesota.
Mine's similar to James. It's kind of a mix of you two. That's Tampa, New York, Calgary, and Colorado.
That's fair enough.
I can't see a New York team not making the semifinals. They always do it.
I do, as of now, have the Carolina Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup.
I have the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup over the Calgary Flames.
I have the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup over the Tampa Bay Lightning. It just feels like one of these years have to be their year. I mean, come on. It's been so many years.
I've gone back and forth on Tampa, Florida, and Colorado. Like I've done whole thing.
It's been too many years that they haven't done it. One of these years, their team's too good. They have too many good players. They have to. They just.
One worry with Colorado right now is they finished the season 4-5-1. That's not fucking good leading into the playoffs under Andrew standards, man.
And I'm gonna say this right now: if Colorado gets out second round, McKinnon's gonna kill somebody. Like,
dude, McKinnon wanted to kill somebody last offseason. That fucking schmuck in the conference, dude. He was like, "Let me want to just say fucking like do this," and McKinnon's like, "What, man? Why am I here right now?"
But McKinnon's a psychopath, and I think this year he'll actually kill somebody. Like
He just might.
I don't think he's a psycho. I think he just really wants to win, which is why he takes pay cuts. And if he
That's-
keeps taking these pay cuts and doesn't win a cup,
I'm taking these pay cuts and I'm not winning.
yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Usually, when a top probably 4 player in the league takes a pay cut, usually you should win one cup.
You should move heaven and earth to make him happy. Like
Yeah, do everything.
I mean, they've had good deadlines in recent history. Like I don't know that it's anything cosmetic. It's just that they as a team just can't fucking get it done.
Devin Taves is back from injury too, which is really important. He was gone for a decent stretch there. And he's a really good defenseman, really underrated even still.
yeah. Any grievances with our Final Four? Do you want to debate, or are we good?
Yeah,
I
James,
think everyone's
you're dumb, James.
I think everyone's makes
I
sense.
said you're dumb, James.
I know.
Your picks suck.
Every time I say let's debate, Zach, you're fucking stupid, James.
All of your picks suck.
Dog shit.
Even the
Jake,
ones that I
Zach, your picks suck. Your mock drafts suck. Your player development sucks. Your protection on the league is terrible. Thank you. Thank you.
No one respects you.
I know. Why do this podcast now? The one thing I will say about Luke's pick, I think that's a bold pick because I think Carolina is like they could get upset. That's my only thing.
Carolina could be a first round exit, or they could make it all the way.
But it's like boom or bust kind of. You know.
I'm riding it because I have a lot of faith in Carolina, and as long as they get Freddie Anderson back in due time, I think it's all definitely possible.
I think if Minnesota, if they get past St. Louis, they could get past Colorado.
Yeah.
Like Colorado, I think if you Colorado, Minnesota, Colorado, St. Louis, second round series for that's going to be.
I think Minnesota are built to beat Colorado. I don't think the Blues are.
I don't necessarily trust what's their face going into it. I don't trust Kemper.
Kemper?
I don't. Yep.
Kemper.
I don't trust him.
Kemper.
The thing about Florida, I was going back and forth on Florida and Tampa. Florida's goaltending, I'm still not 100% confident in that.
Yeah, and I trust Vasilevsky so much in elimination games. He just doesn't let a goal in.
I think Florida will. I think Florida has a better chance to take him out this year than they did last year, though.
Yeah.
And Calgary, I have Calgary in my finals. I think Calgary is built. They're built to win the Stanley Cup. It's
been built every year, and it feels like one of these years is gonna.
But Calgary will always do what they always do. They'll probably disappoint me. Because Calgary, when they're good and have expectations, they falter.
That's the issue.
Yeah, remember the year they won the Pacific and they had to play Colorado and they got out in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's this year's different. They have goaltending. They have depth on defense. They have depth. Yeah. I think this is
everything's pointing. Everything's pointing that way. It's just, and that's why I have them winning the cup. But
Oh, I have an easy bet with my boss. He said, hey, Toronto go farther than Calgary. I'll take that action.
All day. Give me that.
Yeah, though I think I know. Even though we're arguing out, we're super excited for the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
I love playoff hockey.
I love playoff hockey, man. I love it.
Dude, we used to go in the before times before COVID. We used to go to the bars, just sit there all night at the bar, just watching playoffs, drinking beers. And then you get the other fans. We chirping the fans that are beside us, just going at each other, yo, this is fun. Yeah, can't wait. We might stream some of the games later in the playoffs, though. On Twitch or on YouTube, we'll figure it out. But
one of them.
Definitely, if there's a game 7, I think we'll try and get some streams up.
Yeah, we'll definitely stream a game,
maybe
or 2, or 10.
We'll see. See how you're feeling.
A number. We'll stream a number.
We'll see. Once again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys are as excited as us, and we will see you on another episode.
Peace out.